Welcome to Tech Leaders Today with your host, Cassie Crossley. All comments, views, and opinions expressed on this show are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers. Now here's Cassie Crossley.
Hello and welcome to Tech Leaders Today. I'm Cassie Crossley and I'm here today with Betsy McHugh, who is the co-founder and CEO of Hurdl Enterprises. She is a 15-year professional in the entertainment business. She is pioneering the de-anonymization of persons in event venues with the new kind of entertainment experience. Welcome, Betsy.
Thank you, Cassie. Nice to talk to you.
Good to have you here. Tell me more about your company and what you're building. We'll get more into the details later on, but just as a summary.
The live events business really has a data problem in that we don't know the billions of people who attend live events every year. We actually don't know who those people are. That spans across music and sports and amusement parks and casinos and any kind of crowded setting. What we've identified is that there really is no comprehensive, cost-effective, there's no way to know the actual persons in venues. That's what we're helping the industry to generate is a new data set on the actual people who attend live events. And then that expands into a whole network of opportunities in terms of marketing and retargeting and providing a better consumer experience.
And the actual product, can you tell a little bit about that?
We're actually a software and marketing as a service product. We aggregate data. What we've really identified is that the industry as a whole, it's really time now for the entertainment business to work together a little bit more efficiently. And that's something that we want to help them do by aggregating consumer insights in a way that it's not siloed across all the different entities inside of the entertainment business. My background as an artist manager, I really saw recorded music revenue drop pretty significantly with the advent of streaming. And while we're getting streaming to scale to really make sure that the entertainment business is healthy and that the arts are, a profitable way to continue to put music and live events back into the entertainment space, I really saw that all the focus really became on the live event. The problem with that is as an artist manager, I wasn't able to give my clients a tool that they could actually communicate with the actual persons in venue and simply thank them for coming to the show. What we created first, which kind of leads into the software component itself, is an interactive experience that starts with what we call an individually addressable LED wearable, which we call a pixel. And it's kind of a double entendre in that it turns everybody in the audience into a pixel of light, but also as if we're actually pixeling or cooking the actual people in the audience. And so the fan experience is they get to the event, they get given this individually addressable LED wearable. There's a tab in between the two batteries with instructions for how to activate it.
I saw it has a 6-hour battery life. Do they turn it back in? How do they recycle it? What's the sustainability with that?
Yeah, so the current product right now, there is a recycle option where they just twist the pixel off of the wristband itself, and then we can reuse the chip inside of it. So they can recycle it in that way. Right now it's like 3D glasses otherwise, but we're working on another product that will have a much longer battery life to it.
So people can just take it home. You don't expect it to be returned. Okay. So it's like a souvenir if they want it to be. Cool.
It was really important to us to get rid of all the barriers to entry for the fans so we could make it as seamless as possible for them to be part of the experience. They don't have to download any kind of app or do anything that is, feels sort of invasive in that way. They get the pixel, it's given to them. They text to activate it, they opt in, and then from there, we start a one-to-one dialogue with everybody in the audience. That can get really fun. So for example, we did an event in Nashville. It was New Year's Eve in Nashville and the headliner was Keith Urban and the Nashville Convention and Visitor Center was our client. It was a free event. So you can imagine for a free event, there's no way to know the actual people that came to that event because it's not ticketed. And even if it were ticketed through my relationships with Ticketmaster or any of the other ticketing companies, that still only accounts for far less than a third of the audience. In fact, it's more about 20 to 22% of the audience that they have intelligence on. And if you think about that, that makes sense. If I buy a ticket for 3 other people, they know my information, but we call the other 3 people the unknown ticket holder. And I may give my ticket to you, Cassie, and you go with my 3 friends, right? So then they don't know any of those 4 people in the audience. So that's a ticket event. This event that we did with the Nashville Convention and Visitors Center was a completely free event. So we were able to do this event, give everybody in the audience a pixel. They texted to activate. We were able to come out of it and tell the Nashville Convention and Visitors Center who came to the event. We were able to tell them through different data partnerships and some sentimental and psychographic questions we can have through our text conversation, our text bot conversation with the fan that they get really excited to be part of, because they know there's going to be incentives and other creative moments that happen by answering these questions. We were able to tell them that 72% of people came from outside of a 120-mile radius. And then we were able to go back and say, okay, now that we know you came out from outside of a 120-mile radius, our bot can then know to ask the question, hey, we noticed you're from outside of town. Is it your first time to Nashville? Out of that event, we were able to give the Nashville Convention and Visitors Center some very valuable data from a tourism standpoint, which was who came to this event. 72% of people came from outside of a 120-mile radius, and 38% of those people had never been to Nashville before. Through all of that, we were also able to take a moment and honor all the veterans that were in the audience. And that came from answers to questions that the client asked as part of our onboarding system. All the answers to those questions through the text conversation go into the lighting system, and then the lighting director is able to individually light people up based on the answers to those questions. We had a moment where we lit up everybody who came in from outside of town. We had a moment where we lit up everybody who had previously served in the military or were from a military family. We could do a moment where we need to light up everybody who needs to kiss on New Year's Eve, right? If you imagine going to a Beyonce show and she takes a moment and says, where's all my single ladies? We can do that too. That's the hardware and the experience itself that drives such high activation rates in the text conversation with the fan. And then what that leads to is generating a new database on actual persons in venue that are spending time, energy, and money going to the live event. Very different and much more heavily weighted than a passive like on Facebook, or even if you're listening to that music on Spotify, for example, you actually spent time, energy, and money going to this event. It's a very dense data set that we then append with the other intelligence that we are able to capture on the fan through the text conversation. After the event, we're then able to really make it a lot more seamless for the fan. And we say we put a merch stand in everybody's hand to actually go purchase something, where they don't have to wait in line or sit in traffic because they waited in line. They can actually go to their car and through that same text conversation, get a text message that says, thank you so much for coming. We have a new t-shirt specific to this New Year's Eve. Would you like to buy it? And then they buy it and it gets shipped to their house the next day. They don't have to carry it around. They don't have to wait in line. And they're able to do that transaction right there through the text message. We can also drive them to McDonald's for a free Coca-Cola, and then they can get additional incentives in that way. Or we can even have a curated playlist that gets served up to them from, say, Chance the Rapper wants to do a curated playlist on Apple Music or Spotify or Pandora or any of the services. He's able to curate this playlist of perhaps the set list from the show or some other songs that he likes, whatever it is, and that gets texted to the fan, and then they're able to either sign up for Apple Music or open it on their phone and listen to it on the way home. So it really creates increased engagement post-event as well. So you have the experience for the fan during the show, and then you have the post-event experience, both of which are really enhancing their uniqueness in this crowded setting to make them part of this live experience, and the dopamine receptors that go off because of the power of the light and the euphoria that comes with what they just had then drives those conversion rates post-event.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I mean, it's that retargeting and targeting, initial targeting is really important. And the ability to have a shirt or something sent to me afterwards so I don't have to worry about carrying it or finding it in my size or missing out on a song. the song list. I have actually written on my hand what songs, like, oh, I don't have this song. Oh, I don't have this song. And, having the song list so that I could then click to buy it and easily bring it down to my phone would be perfect. That's a lot of technology, both with the wearable, with the actual text system, and then with really what you need from a management of it from behind the scenes. But before I ask some questions on that, technology folks that you have on your team, you must have to have quite a number of skill sets. So tell me about your team and how do you attract people to your team? You're a fairly new company. You're in the Techstars Accelerator.
So we've been around for about 18 months. We just converted to a C corporation last month. We have 11 employees. My partner and co-founder is a CTO. He's actually a mechanical engineer. We also have a software lead. We have a couple of client relations and business development salespeople. We have a UX UI designer. We have 2 account managers and a finance manager, and that's it. To your point, there's a lot of technology, but it's actually the greatest compliment that we've gotten. Actually, it was from TechCrunch. Said, wow, this isn't rocket science. And that's really the truth, is we created this to be a product that is 100% turnkey for the client. You don't need anybody from our team on the road. We say we take up no bunk space. So if you're a touring artist, you don't need us to travel with you on the tour. The lighting director controls everything through what we call our DMX interface, which is a small box Raspberry Pi that pulls in all the data from the text conversation and aggregated consumer profiles that we build through a myriad of different data partnerships and relationships that we have with the band or the team or whatever it is that pulls in their existing data sets. We append that information. All of it goes into this DMX interface, and then that allows the lighting director for the show to control the lights in the same exact way that they control the lights that are going on for the rest of the event. It's a fully scalable system that can be changed on a night-by-night basis, and it's 100% white label. We're not a consumer-facing brand. We're a B2B company.
So the engineers that you do have, what do you have them focused on and how do you attract them to your company?
So our chief technology officer and my co-founder is a mechanical engineer by trade. So he designed the wearable. He interfaces with the software team for the text to activate the wearable system. He built the CMX interface with our design engineers in the UK, who are firmware contractors that we use. They do a lot of the design and electrical engineering for how the pixels talk to the interface, talk to the DMX console. And then our software lead really is focused on our SaaS product, which I mentioned earlier, which we'll get into in a minute. The way that I've attracted them is that we're solving a big problem in the entertainment business. Entertainment business is a fun project to work on. We're about to bring on an in-house data scientist as well, because it's a product that this industry has needed for a really long time. And I think the engineers are very excited to work on something that so many entities from, the biggest promoters and ticketing companies and streaming services and management companies in the world have really been missing for a very long time. They're excited to be part of the solution.
That's great. Let's talk about the SaaS part then. Tell me more about that.
We call it we're playing around with the word. We are a startup, but we call it our community opportunity right now, our co-op. And what we're doing and saying is that, right now the industry has a lot of data that is sort of sitting in these different buckets around the industry. We've got some e-commerce data, we've got some fan club data, we've got some streaming data, we've got some ticket purchaser data, we've got all these different data sets that are sitting in different silos across different management companies and record labels and promoters and all these different places. What it's causing is very broken understanding of consumers across their on and offline activity. One record label could have a whole bunch of data on how this one consumer interacts with one band, but they don't know how that relates to how they interact with another band, for example, right? And then the big one is what events do they actually pull the trigger and go spend time, energy, and money to go to their live event? How many live events do they go to every year? Are they more likely to go to a live event than another fan, right? So what we're saying is we're providing a safe place for everybody to upload their insights on their fans that they've worked really hard to go get and pull in. And we're able to de-anonymize it in a way that allows them to build out a more comprehensive consumer profile on these fans in a way that the industry can work together to benefit both from being able to use our AI and machine learned algorithms for retargeting opportunities, but also in terms of visualizing patterns across the fan base and things that would attract brand partners and things like that. So to give you an example, our system is built to aggregate all this data. Everybody in the system becomes an anonymous Hurdle ID. And then from there, our machine learned algorithms can query against it by saying, I want to sell tickets to Ed Sheeran in Chicago. And what it'll do is it'll actually query all this data and it'll find people with a predictive likelihood that gets continuously smarter and smarter over time to be interested in whatever the original query was. So in this case, it's intended to serve as a recommendation algorithm for what live events a consumer is likely to go to. So it's not dissimilar to a recommendation algorithm for what music you'd like to listen to next, which is Pandora's business. We're doing the same thing in the live event space.
What is the best way for people to find out more about your company? How do they get in touch with you?
So our website is www.hurdl.com. And then we're on Twitter and Instagram, and our handle is @WeAreHurdle. There's a deck on our website that you can click through and schedule a demo and get some more insights too.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Betsy.
Thank you for having me, Cassie. I really appreciate it.
I want to thank you so much for listening today. If you love this podcast, please do share it with your friends and colleagues, and please leave a review on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher because it makes a difference for circulation. For the show notes and other great info, enter your email into the mailing list at techleaderstoday.com. Thank you.